Hi, everyone. It's Sam, NFTstatistics, and this is your Proof Daily NFT Countdown. We're going to dive into the Vitalik hack, which happened over the weekend. Milady down 15% after some weird news from them. A whole lot more to talk about. This banana coin launch that really tanked quickly. Friendtech just continues to ramp up. Let's dive right in, starting off with a quick market overview. ETH volumes rose a fair bit, but again, this was not the good kind of volume because prices were down substantially. If you look at the market share, 80% was with Blur. We talked a couple weeks ago about how Blur was kind of moving back towards 60 to 70%. Well, now they're back at 80% yesterday. I also wanted to look at Friendtech volume because Friendtech has been just as active as ETH NFTs really across the entire ecosystem. These blue bars are Friendtech ETH volume. The red line is all ETH NFTs across major exchanges put together. You can see that Friendtech did more than 5,000 ETH, less than all of ETH NFTs, but that is a reasonable bar. If you look at total users for the first time in about 2 weeks, Friendtech had more people who traded Friendtech keys than all of ETH NFTs put together. So just continued strong numbers there. Also, what's interesting is how much royalties the top creators are generating. This is a look at the top three: Racer, Kobe, Saka Trades. They've all made over $190,000 in fees and royalties. That's just in a month. So annualizing more than $2 million in fees. So really just pretty crazy numbers across the board with Friendtech. Another thing, and I have to talk about things other than NFTs because NFTs have been so slow lately. There are other things in crypto that capture a bit more attention. Wanted to talk about them. There's this token called Banana, launched yesterday. It is a Telegram bot that helps people snipe and get airdrops, other things like that. Very much like Unibot, which has been one of the hotter tokens, or was one of the hotter tokens before it fell about 70%. This Banana token launched, went up about 10x for people who got the pre-sale. And then within a few hours, they said there was a bug in the contract and it immediately tanked. Here is the team saying they found a bug in their contract that they cannot fix. They said they had two people, they went through 2 audits of their code. It was kind of interesting. Someone put their code through ChatGPT and it spotted the bug immediately. So there's a lesson. Always add ChatGPT to your auditors. And they're going through multiple steps to make things right. But just another example of something that went wrong yesterday. It wasn't exactly the day full of best news. Large cap index was down about 3.5%. Why was it down? Massive weakness in Milady and then a ton of weakness in DGODS. I think DGODS was less news. Just someone came in and sold a ton in one go. Floor went from something like 4.2 all the way down to 3.75. And then Milady, there was a lot of interesting news, which we will get to in a second. Mid-cap index also was down about 3 or 4%, with a lot of weakness in Sprado Gremlins. Sprado Gremlins, Remilio, and Milady, those three are kind of all part of the same package. So had some sympathy weakness there. Killabear is also quite weak. Looking at Milady, Milady has been the one project that against this bear market has done quite well. It's almost been like the anti-NFT, NFT to own, the hedge against your NFT position, which makes it all the more dramatic to see it go below 3 ETH, down to about 2.6 ETH. Just a ton of weakness there. What exactly happened? Here is Charlotte Fang. Charlotte Fang is the leader of Milady. We found out yesterday the only shareholder in Remilio Corporation, and actually is a male, someone who, if you look online, has been doxxed for a long time, even kind of doxxed themselves, but really through a lawsuit that they filed, you saw exactly who this person is. But what was the issue? One of the developers on their team basically tried to hold the team hostage, and in the process took $1 million from Remilia's generated fees, I assume in royalties, and in other places. Also took over a few of the Twitter accounts. Charlotte announced that they were going to be suing 3 different developers in the process. Overall, just not a great look for a project that wants to be up only, that generally has historically tried to stay away and denounce the actual legal system in the state and whatnot. So overall, just saw a lot of weakness there. The court filing is public. Here it is, which you can look at if you're interested in seeing that, but just a lot of weakness in the one project that has really held up despite this market. Another project I want to talk about, Mochaverse. You can see here that they had a pretty strong rally from 0.6 to 0.9 ETH a couple days ago. It's since fallen off a little bit, but still up a fair bit from where they were before the announcement. What was the announcement? They're raising $20 million. Again, this is through Animoca, Hong Kong-based kind of fund that funds a lot of crypto gaming projects, a lot of Web3 projects, but they raised $20 million for that project. So against this bear market, always nice to see VC showing faith in the NFT space and the Web3 space. So I guess that's pretty good news. One thing I say here is that VC funding has historically helped projects scale, but it hasn't always been the best thing for NFT prices. And we've seen that across so many projects, really across the board. But I still think at this stage, it tends to be a positive, given just how little energy there is in the NFT space overall. Let's have a look at our projects. 5 projects over the past 24 hours did more than 10 ETH of volume. 5 projects, at least of the ones I track. One thing I wanted to highlight is a Gazer sale. This was over the weekend, but I forgot to highlight yesterday, a 19 ETH sale. So that's just a huge Gazer sale. There's a Meridian, which sold for 8 ETH, well above floor. Here we have a Protoglyph. A Protoglyph was one of the first grails that proofed it as part of season 1, so for 12 ETH. So that's a nice price relative to where they've been saying. And this is a pre-process by Casey Reese, sold for 3.3 ETH, which is well above the floor price for that project. Second thing to talk about, Vitalik Twitter gets hacked. And this is a story from the weekend, but a little bit more information came out yesterday. So I just wanted to touch on it. Here is the tweet that came from Vitalik's account that the hacker actually put up there. Pretty standard tweet, kind of directing people to a new website where they can drain their wallet of the NFTs. It kind of interesting. I'm not sure what it says about Twitter and the state of things right now, that a lot of my feed was talking about ways this hacker could have made more money through the scam that they put people on. But there were 2 CryptoPunks that got drained, a hoodie CryptoPunk as well as a Pigtails. This hoodie went for 155 ETH, the Pigtails for 47.5 ETH. Interestingly, the victim here has 3 zombie punks. So, a very large CryptoPunk bag, and basically said he wasn't going to buy these 2 back. The new owners were going to get to keep them because the victim I assume the victim just he said, it was my mistake. I'm not going to try to get these back. I think also he has 3 zombie CryptoPunks. Already has a big bag, so I can see where he wouldn't want to put more ETH back into CryptoPunks, but always hate to see that. Now, what I thought was interesting and came out yesterday is that Vitalik said, basically, he said that his T-Mobile account got SIM swapped. So someone got access to it, basically convinced a store clerk that he was Vitalik, got the SIM, or it could have just been someone who works at T-Mobile. I mean, this was a $700,000 hack. So if someone just got an entry-level job at T-Mobile, perhaps that was how it happened. We don't really know how exactly it happened. But one of the interesting things there is that Vitalik did not have 2-factor authentication on through the phone. All that has to happen, if you go onto Twitter, if you go onto X, and you say, forgot my password, it'll ask you to input your phone number. And if you input your phone number, it'll send you a new password. It'll send you a new link to go get a new phone number. It's that easy just to take over someone's account. So I ended up taking my phone number off of my Twitter. I think we're seeing so many hacks on Twitter that you just got to be so careful. I removed my personal phone number from it. Also, having 2-factor authentication, I do think helps. I imagine Vitalik didn't have it. If you have 2-factor authentication, even if someone changes your password, they probably can't get on without using the Authenticator app on your phone. Either way, be careful out there. We see way too many Twitter accounts get hacked. And I think this shines a light on what drives a lot of it, just how simple it is via a phone number to take over someone's account. Third thing to talk about, let's talk about a little bit of art. A Daydream for Libby. This was on GMDAO. GMDAO is kind of one of the closest competitors or other generative art makers, or not makers, incubators, next to Art Blocks. Again, this is a generative fairy tale book made with love and code by Genlight. A little bit about it. It is a long-form generative art project exploring fairy tales, imagination, storytelling, and childhood wonders. The artist says that the project is made for his daughter. One of his favorite hobbies has always been to follow around and imagine what she's thinking. And with the click of a button, the piece becomes fully responsive. It fills your entire browser. It changes, it grows, it adopts with the story. And I'll show you some of the images in a second. And the story, there are stories in the piece, and they're written by the artist, but also have some randomness to it, which creates the pieces. What you can see here is that all these images really just have this fairy tale kind of theme to them. I really recommend going and checking out the collection and playing with them, castles, and all sorts of other different aspects that play into it. And just a lot of different kind of very imaginative pieces to it. In terms of where the top sales have been, we've seen them at 0.5 ETH, 0.44 ETH for a couple, and then 0.4 ETH. The mint was for 0.15 ETH. So a few really big wins there. The floor jumped to 0.25 ETH. Currently, the floor is 0.16 though. So kind of ending up right where it started. There are 511 of supply. And again, I don't think I really did this justice. It is a really fun project to go to it, to check out the full page, see all the different art, and explore what's going on in there with the stories and the very different components to it. Also wanted to mention that William Mapan has a generative art piece, a generative art project, which is coming out today. It's called Distance. It is minting with LACMA. Remember, LACMA did Interwoven with Emily Shee. They also did one with Def Beef. So LACMA, the Los Angeles Contemporary Art Museum, is becoming a real player in the minting game with a lot of the top generative artists out there. Here is the one by Def Beef. It's called Chrono Photograph. It has 254. The floor is 3.6. And then Interwoven only has 100 by Emily Shee, and the floor is 3 ETH. So cool stuff from both of them. As far as this one by William, there are 250 pieces. The mint price is 2 ETH each. So that's a strong price for this market, but I'm very curious to see how this ultimately plays out. And then lastly, let's talk about a couple notable sales in the one-of-one space. There weren't a ton of big sales over the past 24 hours, but going back a day or two, this piece Azure by TimboSlice sold for 1.9 ETH. Buyer Mufaletta, very cool image, very cool drone photography. I used to do a lot of drone photography when I lived in Asia. Sometimes we'd go to kind of like islandy places. So I love stuff like that. If you look at some of his top sales, TimboSlice has had sales of 2.69, 3.3, 3.5 ETH. A lot of this drone theme with the turquoise waters, with the whales, and all sorts of nature themes to it. A little bit more about Timbo. He is the 2022 Australian Aerial Photographer of the Year. Had, I believe it was 4 of his images selected. So very cool to see that. Also in his profile says he's a family man and a firefighter. So congrats to him. Love to see these sales. Very cool stuff. And then lastly, this piece called Midnight Streets by OMGIDrawedIt. And the buyer here was Moogie. This piece was sold for 1.5 ETH. Another very fun piece to dig into all the different details about it. Under the moniker OMGIDrawedIt, UK-based illustrator, artist, and NFT creator George Goodwin creates vibrant, engaging, and hyper-detailed artwork. And this is certainly an example of that. So congrats to him on that 1.5 ETH sale. That is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, give us a like. Tell us what you think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back tomorrow and just about every weekday with another show. Have a great day.